A young woman who has accused former government minister Nigel Darmlal of rape, sexual assault and cyberbullying is today hoping that she can get justice 4 years later and that her story can inspire others to come forward. Sarah Hack in a virtual press conference detailed her alleged ordeal at the hands of Darmlal, who was recently elected to sit on the executive committee of his party, the governing People's Progressive Party.
I'm shocked, stunned, and immediately tell him to put his clothes on, not expose himself to me. He does not comply nor show any signs of embarrassment, and he tries to coax me to take my clothes off and join him on the bed. I was disgusted by this man's naked body and everything he was asking me to do. My mind was spinning, and I couldn't understand how a minister of parliament is doing this to me at this moment. He asked me to disrobe, and I insist on keeping all of my clothes on. I am trying not to be rude, and at my expense. He starts fondling and groping me. My top comes off with him trying to see my breasts. And as I'm sitting on the bed trying to put my clothes on, he takes them off and we go back and forth. He finally starts to grind up against me, expecting our genitals to touch. I told Darmlal to stop and to put his penis away. He says he needs to get something from me first. He starts to take my pants off and my underwear, but I insist on leaving my pants halfway on one leg because I did not want to spread eagle to this man. I couldn't believe this was happening, and I stared at the ceiling and looked at a clock to the left of me. My dignity and sanity went out the window, and I was crushed. I was completely disassociated as this man goes down on me, and he used his tongue to have oral sex with my vagina and anus. I don't know how long this goes on for, but I began to sob silently without him knowing, since I intended on showing no fear, with a naked minister trying to have sexual intercourse with me on pretenses of a business meeting.
An emotional Hack explained that the first incident occurred in September 2020 at Anna Regina State House, where she met him for a business meeting.
This thing happened to me 4 years ago. It didn't happen to me 4 years ago in my head. I get nightmares about this thing. Trauma is something that is so bizarre. Things that never used to affect me when it happened started to affect me later on in life. I started to get nightmares. I have simple PTSD because of this. This thing started to haunt me when I tried to let it go. My mind was in denial for a very long time. People gaslit me. Let me tell you something. People used to tell me that this thing never happened to me. Can you imagine? My own family, people would say, let it go, let it go. It got to a point where I didn't even believe I was raped. Do you know what that did to my psyche? Do you know how mentally frayed I became? It's as though this head and this body suddenly didn't know who Sarah was anymore.
The second incident allegedly occurred in a Cummins Lodge property of the former minister. In response to a question from CNN on why now, Sarah said she is hoping to show others that they are not alone.
I need to give people strength. I need to give victims the strength to know that they're not alone and that there's no shame in what happened to them. They need to reclaim their narrative and stay true to themselves and stay true to the truth, because your dignity comes and goes, money comes and goes, but the truth always remains the same.
Sarah said she does not have faith in the police to properly investigate her report, and she explained the challenges experienced in making the report.
None. They were scared to take my report. I don't have any confidence in them whatsoever. Dam was where I went initially, and then they directed me to CID, telling me CID was going to take the rape report. And then CID was like, no, we don't do that. An inspector called me to go to Cove and John the next day, and then that's when the rape report got taken.
Last year, a report of similar nature was made against Darmlal, which led to him resigning his post as minister and member of parliament. After several weeks, the young woman recanted her report.